I just hit 10,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. So first of all, I guess I just want to thank you guys for being here with me on this journey that we're going on together. And I said that once I hit 10k, I would do a Q&A just to give you guys a chance to get to know me a little bit better. And I put the Q&A up on my Instagram stories a couple of days ago. I have never done a Q&A before. I never even did like Ask FM back in the day. I found it kind of hilarious, just like what it is that people wanted to know or have the answers to. Like, I was sitting in the bath just like watching the questions come in and just cackling to myself. So many of you are so nosy, and I respect it because I am nosy too. I've kind of grouped all of the questions into categories just so I'm not sort of yo-yoing back and forth between different topics. And I feel like some of the questions and my answers won't make sense until I've covered other topics. Also, there were way more questions than I thought there would be, so if I don't answer your question, I'm so sorry. First question is, did you go to uni, and if so, where and what did you study? I went to University of Leeds and I studied digital media. Loved Leeds so much, couldn't recommend it more if you're thinking about where to go to uni. I just think it was the perfect place. I loved living up north. I love northerners. I think Yorkshire is just like beautiful, and I think it's really nice being in the city and being so close to the countryside. My course was great as well because it was under the School of Media and Communications, and you could kind of go down lots of different routes with it depending on what modules you picked. Like, you could go down coding or animation. I kind of stuck more down the comms side of things. For my final year project, I started a podcast which was called Daughter of a Hoarder, and that is kind of how we are here today. The podcast is not available to stream. It gave me the ick, so I took it down. Also, I graduated in 2020, and I'm so glad that I finished uni in that year, because I think had it been normal life, I would have been really distracted with like going out and going to London to see my friends and my boyfriend, because pretty much all my friends had graduated by then. But because I had nothing to do other than just get on with my work, I ended up getting a first in my dissertation project, and in third year, just not overall, I got a 2-1 overall. Someone said, do I prefer Leeds or London? I feel like Leeds was so perfect for me at that time, and I actually never thought that I would move to London. So my older sister, who we were like joined at the hip, we used to share a bedroom. She moved here when she was 18 to go to uni here, and I remember just going to go and visit her, and she was always such a West London girl, which is really funny because she actually lives like a 5-minute walk from me now. And I would go and stay with her in like West Hampstead and Shepherd's Bush. I just felt like I never really connected to London. I just never saw myself living here. And then my boyfriend's brother lived in Dalston, and I remember coming and being like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then my boyfriend moved to Stoke Newington with a couple of my friends, and I remember being like, oh, okay, I do feel like I can see myself living here, and maybe I'm just like an East London girl. And so far so good. Someone said, what is your dream job? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out. I find it really overwhelming. I feel like at so many different points in my life, that question has really got me down. I feel like when I was like 16 trying to choose my A-levels, I don't know, just when you start thinking about your career at school and what you want your life to look like, and you're doing like these aptitude tests and meeting with career advisors, I've just never known or had the answer. So I've kind of just gone with the flow. I feel like that question actually is quite like prevalent in my mind at the moment, because I'm just trying to think about what I want my life to look like in like 5 years time and 10 years time, and what I need to do in order to get there or have that. But I don't know, I've been having like an existential crisis since I turned 27. I had quite a few questions just asking what I do and if I worked. Yes, I work, of course I work. Like, I think there's a real misconception that if you have a bit of a following online, you don't need to work. That might be true for some people. From what I know and the people around me and other creators that I know, I feel like you'd need at least 60 to 100,000 on Instagram to be able to do content full time. And even then there would be like a lack of stability. So I get why people would want to keep on a part-time or a full-time job. Like, I've got friends with over 100k on Instagram who still work full time. I actually did a really in-depth YouTube video about how I got a job in fashion. And to be honest, in terms of my career, not much has changed since I filmed that video. If you want a really in-depth answer, go and watch that video. Or if you want to know more about my journey to where I am now in terms of my career, I currently do 2 days at Peachy Den, which is a London-based women's wear brand, and there I'm a digital creative, so I do kind of lots of things underneath the creative content and marketing bracket, whether that be copywriting for collections, events and moments, or helping to produce the shoots, and then things like conceptualizing and carrying out content shoots, and just like a lot of content stuff. Peachy Den was actually the first job that I applied for when I moved to London 2.5 years ago. I applied for their creative internship, and then I was doing that for 3 months. and then I was made marketing and e-commerce assistant, and then I've been a digital creative for I think over a year now. Some people also asked about like advice for getting into the fashion industry. I just think get your foot in the door. If I'm completely honest, I would advise people to keep fashion as a hobby and as an interest, because the industry isn't actually that glamorous. It's kind of quite rare to make a lot of money. Like a lot of my friends are making 2 to 3 times more than what I'm making. Obviously you get things like staff discount, which is a perk, and you go to cool things and you meet cool people, and that's really fun and interesting. But anyone in the industry knows right now, like the industry is on its knees, so it's a tough time. But I do love my team, and I get a lot of job satisfaction from like my actual work that I do there. But working in like a small business and a startup, you wear lots of different hats, so it's good in terms of getting that kind of experience, because before that I used to work in HR for the government in Jersey, so it was like completely different opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of like company size and the way it operates, and just like honestly everything is completely different. And honestly there are pros and cons to both. Next question, how did you find navigating life and finding a flat in London? So my boyfriend and I moved here in February 2022. We'd just come back from 3 months of traveling around Central America. And then before that we were living at home just working and saving for like a year or a year and a half. I do think it's a bit of a chicken and an egg situation. Like, do you move here with a job without somewhere to live, or do you move here once you've got somewhere to live and then find a job? With hindsight, it would be smarter to move here with a job, because I think it takes the pressure off. I think we were both really desperate to just make the move and get here and then try and find a job, but it was kind of stressful because we didn't know how long our savings needed to last us. So we were literally just sitting in our flat refreshing emails, applying to jobs, not hearing anything. It was such a stressful time. Looking back, actually, it was an awful time, so I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend getting a job first and then figuring out somewhere to live, because you can always find somewhere short term until you sort something out for a bit more longer term. And if you're wanting to move to London, I'd say the best way to find a flat is literally just refreshing Rightmove like 10 times a day. As soon as you see something you like, pick up the phone, call the agent, book in a viewing. It's kind of annoying because you don't have much time to like sit on it and make your decision. You kind of just have to go with your gut. How did you find making new friends in London? So Solly and I were lucky enough to move over here with a lot of friends and family here already. Kind of felt like we were one of the last to actually make the move over. That being said, I have also made some incredible friendships since I've been living here. I don't know where I would be without my internet girls. I call them my internet girls because we kind of met either through Instagram or through events that I have been invited to as Daughter of a Hoarder. Yeah, I love those girls so much, and they're such like genuine, true friendships. I had a few questions on how do I manage money and budgeting in London. I don't even know how to answer that because I feel like I'm not a good person to go to for advice on the topic. I've been pretty broke this whole year basically. The first half of the year I had no paid ads come through, and that always helps. There's just like a little bit of extra spending money, but I have literally in the last like 2 weeks been able to secure a bit more freelance work, so I'll be back up to 4 days, which means that I should hopefully be in a better position moving forward. But it has not been great. I don't know, I guess it's probably easier if you're on like a full-time job with a salary, and then you can really like work out what's coming in, what's coming out. But for me, every month looks so different, so I'm just all over the place. Best and worst thing about living in London. Best thing I would say is the opportunities. Like, I just think being in London in your 20s is the perfect place to be, because there's just so much going on, not only for your career but also just like your life. Like, no weekend looks the same here, and I love that. The worst thing I would say is I really miss living by the sea and the beach. Is living in London all that it's made out to be? Yeah, it is, but each their own. Like, whatever makes you happy, and for me this is making me happy. I've got quite a few questions asking for recommendations on where to thrift and where to eat in London. I did a YouTube video on my London favorites, so if you want all of my recommendations, go and watch that. I have a very extensive Google Maps saves list for London restaurants, which I'll actually put in the description of this video as well. But yeah, top line answer would be if I wanted to go and vintage shop, Past Trash have just opened a new showroom in South London. Love Peckham Car Boot, Vivian's Vintage on Brick Lane, and then my friend Cara Crower, Mariana, she has a showroom and you can book an appointment to go and shop in her showroom. There's also Isabella Verana and Bible Studios showroom, which is also great. But yeah, go and watch that video if you want thrifting recommendations. And then food recommendations, oh my god, the list never ends, and there's always new spots, and I'm always adding to my list. I had 2 questions which are kind of similar. Do you think you'll live in London forever, or do you see yourself leaving London? 100%. Like I said before, I really miss living by the beach and by the sea. I also really want to go and live abroad at some point, just not right this second, and I still need to figure out how and where and when. And then later on in my life, I just know that I need to be by the ocean to be happy. I had a few questions about Jersey. So if you didn't know, I was born and raised in the island of Jersey, which is one of the Channel Islands. It is south of England and really, really close to France. house. It is 9 miles by 5 miles and the population is like around 100,000, so it's quite densely populated. My dad's actually from outside of Manchester, and I actually never know where my mom is from. I think she's from England, but then her parents lived in Jersey. What's my favorite thing about Jersey? I think it goes without saying, the beach. Somebody asked if I would ever live in New York City, and someone else asked if I have any plans to visit there. I have never been, and I would like to go, but apparently it's very expensive. And I feel like I would want to live somewhere in between London and New York, like that was completely different, if that makes sense. Someone said, what are your travel plans? So I'm going to Mallorca on Tuesday with Susie, Gloria and Yasmin, and I'm so excited. And then I'm also going to Sri Lanka just after Christmas with my boyfriend's family, and then my boyfriend and I are going to stay on for a little bit, which I also cannot wait for, because I feel like I've really been getting itchy feet again recently, and everyone just has the most incredible things to say about Sri Lanka. Someone said, what are your biggest daughter of a hoarder dreams? I really don't know. I feel like I'm just trying to do this as organically as possible, and I just kind of post whatever feels natural to me. And I go through phases of not posting at all, or then posting too much and then being anxious that I'm posting too much and annoying everyone. And comparison is the thief of joy. Sometimes I look at other people's growth and I see that mine hasn't been as fast or as extensive, but I just want to keep going and doing what feels right, and hopefully that will pay off. And if not, it's just nice to have like a little sense of purpose and have this fun little community and just whatever it is we've got going on. Someone said dream collab. I don't really know, maybe Skims. I'd be really excited if I got a Skims email in my inbox. Someone said, when is your next pop-up? So I kind of have something that I need to talk to you guys about and confess. I feel like my vintage selling days behind me. It's quite time intensive and quite like laborious, and I'm not really going home to source. I'm not going abroad to source. I don't know, it's just a chapter that I feel like I'm ready to kind of close or put to bed for a little while. And I'm always going to be clearing out my wardrobe and uploading things to my Vinted and my Depop and my eBay. But when it comes to like sourcing like a proper vintage seller, we're saying goodbye and goodnight. What's something in your wardrobe that you couldn't live without? I feel like the answer to this would change monthly, but at the moment it's my Ballarat shoes. I had them in my bookmarks for like months. I just wasn't ready to part ways with over £100 on a pair of shoes. But since I have, I've worn them so much. They go with everything. They look so chic and so cute, and I love them. If you're thinking about getting them, I have slightly wider feet, so I sized up. They are comfy, but like if you're doing more than 10,000 steps a day, they're obviously going to start hurting. What are some items that you regret selling? So I'm so glad that I cannot see my old Depop. I basically had to delete it and start again in 2022 because I was beefing with PayPal. And every now and then I like remember something that used to be my mum's that I sold, and I'm like, why did I sell that? And often I sold them for so cheap. Like I remember there was this really stunning La Perla corset. And it was stunning, and I think I sold it for like £40, and I regret it. And I'm pretty sure she had a really cute suede jacket. I keep thinking about it at the moment because autumn's coming. Someone asked, what is your favorite and least favorite thing about being an influencer? Well, my favorite thing is obviously my girls. Like if it wasn't for Daughter of a Hoarder, I wouldn't have met my internet girls. Also, you do get invited to some cool events and some cool experiences, and you get some free stuff, and who doesn't like free stuff? What I don't like is unsolicited free stuff. I feel like because my mum is a hoarder, I am such like a declutterer, and I feel really burdened by things that I have that I no longer want or need. When I went home most recently, I took home this massive bag of stuff that I had been gifted or given and offered it out to my little sisters, and they were loving it. And so now I've just got this like tote bag at the back of my shelves, and if ever I get given something that I don't want or need, it goes in the tote bag and I'll save it for when I next go home. My least favorite thing, I don't know, I feel like I'm such a homebody. I've got some friends who are really good at going to every event that they're invited to, and sometimes I wish I was more like them, but I'm just not to my core. Like I'm not, and I hate going straight from work to an event because after a day of work I always just feel so gross, and I feel like I run out of battery and run out of steam quite easily. Another thing that I don't love about it, but I feel like maybe you just have to get used to it because you're putting yourself out there online and people feel like they know you, so they make lots of assumptions about you, and that is so bizarre to me still. I've had some very insane messages and DMs. I even had this one thing on Depop where I bought this skirt, I paid £40 for the skirt never came, so I requested a refund, and the girl started going mental at me saying, I know you're an influencer, I know you work at Peachy Den, you don't need the money, I'm a student. And I was like, I need the money. Like, what makes you think I don't need the money? But also, even if I was rich, I still bought a skirt, never received it, so I should get a refund. No? Insane. Someone asked, does your mom work in fashion, and what led her to owning so many insane designer pieces? She used to own a second-hand designer store years ago, and then that closed, and she still has some of the stock left. A majority of the stuff we find actually just used to be hers. She loves a bargain, she loves eBay, and she probably had a shopping problem. But she actually just works for a charity now. That's what she does. Someone asked, would I ever design a collection or start a clothing brand? I don't think I would start a clothing brand, you know. I feel like it just is so challenging, and I also don't know if I want my life to revolve around sales, if that makes sense. I probably would design a collection with a brand that already exists, that I love and respect and want to work with, and one that like really made sense. Because sometimes I see or imagine or think of something and try and find it and I can't find it anywhere, and I think about how I would do it and how well I would do it. So I don't know. Next question, where do you get your fashion inspo from? I would say a majority of it is just from Pinterest, and if not, then Instagram. If I don't know what to wear and I want to come up with something new, I will just scroll through Pinterest and take inspiration on color palettes and layering, and even just like building the basis of an outfit. And if not Pinterest or Instagram, then just in real life. Like, I've got a lot of well-dressed people around me. A lot of my friends inspire me, people at work, but also just like people I pass in the street. There was this one girl walking through London fields in the summer, and I loved her outfit so much that I didn't want to forget it. So I waited until she walked past me so I didn't get a photo of her face. And I took a photo of her outfit, and I think I uploaded it to my Pinterest. Next question, who are my style icons? If I'm ever just like, I want to go and stalk someone for a little bit of inspo, I will go and check out Kendall Dare, Vivian Lee, and Marie, I don't know how you say her name, I'm so sorry. Someone asked, what YouTubers do I watch? I love Susie Lola and Vivian Tang. I also love like Ruby Lynn and Flossie, Jane Edwards and Lainey Ozark, and then also like Mina Lee and Modern Girls, and anything with Nella Rose. Trigger warning, someone has asked about my relationship with food and my body and fitness, so if you're not up for hearing about that, just skip on a little bit. They asked, do I ever feel insecure? And like, obviously, who doesn't or hasn't? Like, I don't know one girl who hasn't at some point in their life or doesn't struggle with body image issues. It wasn't until I got older that I realized that I had a binge eating disorder when I was at school. Like, I used to severely binge and restrict and binge and restrict. Sometimes that mindset, or like, I don't know, those habits can creep back in a little bit, but I'm at a place currently that I feel relatively positive. I feel like I need to pick up a bit more on the pace with my fitness, but I feel like my relationship with food at this point in time is pretty positive. I've always had a big appetite. I've always loved food. Like, me and my boyfriend love to cook, and we love trying new places to eat. And then fitness, I go through phases where I'm exercising more and I always feel better for it when I am, and then I go through phases where I fall out of a rhythm with it, and that does have like a knock-on effect on how I feel about myself and my body. But overall, like, I kind of have more so come to accept my body type and like learning to dress for my body type. I also just think like a lot of the girls that I watch on YouTube or follow on Instagram or look up to for like fashion inspo don't look like me, which almost encourages me more, because I know that it's like good to have part of the representation online of fashion girlies who are a size medium and a UK 10-12 and have thick thighs. But yeah, don't get me wrong, like, I have not gone a day of my life since I was like 14 without wishing that I was skinnier, but I also like to have a sweet treat after every meal. So long as I am in like a positive mindset with my relationship with food and in a good routine with working out, then I'm happy. Do you know what I mean? Someone asked, do I have any siblings? I'm one of 9. My dad has had 5 kids with my mum and 4 kids with my stepmom, so big family. Somebody asked what my skincare routine is. I have had to go on Roaccutane twice. I used to suffer with really, really bad acne, and then it came back. So I keep my day-to-day skincare routine pretty simple, just like a CeraVe face wash and a CeraVe moisturizer, bit of SPF in the day. Might do like a Paula's Choice retinol serum once a week, but that's about it. Next question, someone asked if I'd get married or have kids. There are so many times in my life where I think this situation would be so much worse if I had children. They're just really not high up on my agenda right now. Like, I just want to live my life, and I want to make sure that I've done all the things that I want to do before having kids, if I want to have kids, which is something that I'm not even sure that I want to do. Getting married, however, I went to a wedding last summer and it kind of like completely changed my mind on whether or not I wanted to get married and have a wedding. And it was like not at all religious, and it was just a good time with everyone that the couple loved, all in one room, just celebrating them. And I was like, that is a good time. And I literally had the best weekend ever. And I remember texting Solly, because he couldn't make it, being like, I actually cannot wait for us to get married and for our wedding day. I feel like if I was rich, I'd be happy to get married this year, but weddings are expensive and like engagement rings are expensive. I think we're just gonna wait until we are at a place in our lives where we can afford it. Someone said that they love my home and they wondered if I would ever do interior design content and what is on my home decor wish list. I'm very proud of that main room. I think it is stunning, and I think I've done a very good job of decking it out. And yes, I'm going to take all the credit for it because I think that I am responsible for 99% of that room. This room, however, I'm not loving. I want to get some nice bedding. These are just like old IKEA sheets, but the bedding that I want is out of stock. And then also just like interior stuff and home decor and home furnishings, all so expensive, and I've just not been at a point where I have the spare funds to do that. And if I do have the spare funds, it's probably going on things in my wardrobe rather than in my home, especially like if we want to move abroad at some point. Like all of this stuff will just burden us down. If I invest in some like nice big furniture, it's a big investment, first of all because it's all so expensive, but also like what am I going to do with it when I move to Mexico? But on my wish list, I am trying to hunt down a cartel Combiblione, I don't know how you pronounce it. There was a really nice like creamy yellowy one in this Airbnb that Solly and I stayed at in Paris when we were there for the marathon, and I really want one for the upstairs room, so that's on my wish list along with some bedding. And then finally I'm going to finish this video with answering everyone's questions about me and my boyfriend Solly. First of all, it's Solly with an O. Everyone was spelling it with a U, like Mike and Sully from Monsters Inc., but he's Solomon, like S-O-L-O-M-O-N. So we started dating in 2017 when we were 19. His mum actually used to teach me textiles, and I also used to work with his eldest brother, which is just like so incredibly Jersey. He went to the boys' school opposite my girls' school, so I kind of roughly knew who he was anyway and used to see him around. He was actually in the year below me at school. I am young for my year and he's old for his year, so we're only 2 months apart, but I'm still a cougar apparently. And I swear on my little sister's life, I just like one day decided that I thought he was hot, and I think I said it to my friends, like, guys, I think that Solly in the year below is really fit. And then like a week later, I was on a night out with my girls and he was out with his friends, and one of my friends went to uni with one of his friends, so we just kind of met up with them. And then next thing you know, we were kissing on the dance floor of the local nightclub. Sorry, it's so embarrassing, and I know my little sisters are watching. And then I just asked him to go for a drink the next day, and we did, and it was nice. But I think we kind of both weren't really looking for anything serious because we were both at uni at the time. Both our unis were really far apart. I was at Leeds, he was at Oxford Brookes, and I think we both knew any better than trying to do a long distance relationship after like a few dates. We kind of just had this like little ongoing situationship where we were just kind of consistently talking throughout that year, and then we'd kind of meet up whenever we were home for like Christmas and Easter. And then the next summer I came home and we started like properly dating, and then all of his friends were dating my friends, and it was like a Love Island summer. We were all like coupled up with year below boys. It was hilarious. That ended and we were like obviously the only couple standing after that. And then we ended up doing long distance for a bit whilst he was finishing at Oxford Brookes and whilst I was still at Leeds. Then we ended up doing lockdown together in my house in Leeds, and just have been pretty inseparable since, I guess. Solly was actually my first real proper boyfriend. I was never really interested in anyone at home, and then I don't know why it took me until I got to uni to start dating someone from Jersey, but it did. Somebody asked if we influence each other's fashion, but I don't think we do. I feel like we just know what we like. Like, I'll ask for his feedback. I might be like, do you think this looks better or that looks better? And then like I usually listen to what he thinks is best, but I think that's kind of as far as it goes. Okay, my memory card just died, but I only had one question left, and it's a very sweet one, so I thought I'd answer it before signing off. Someone asked, what's a highlight about your relationship? I honestly just love being able to live my life with him by my side because he is my best friend and treats me like a princess. Too much oversharing. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Love you, bye.